Broadcasting through the depths of outer space.
Hello, I'm alive. I don't know what's going on.
By your command.
Fascinating.
God damn you all to hell!
It's the Solar Sci-Fi Podcast. This is episode 56 of the Solar One Sci-Fi Podcast. It's Michael Ball, and one of my co-hosts just suddenly appeared on my camera for a second, but then he disappeared again. First of all, Martin Fowler. Hello, Martin. How are you?
I'm all right. Into the new year, we're all into lockdown again
In the UK.
Yeah.
And we've also luckily got author of the Timberwolf book series has returned for more glutton and punishment. We have Mr. Tom Julian. Hello, Tom.
Hey guys, it's great to be back.
It's good to have you
Hello.
back. Happy New Year. Yeah. How are things in the States at the moment? How is it all in your part of the world?
Oh man, things are cold, I guess. Yep. You know, it's live in the Northeast, in central New Jersey, and it's you go outside, and some days it's nice and sunny, and you go out and it's like, oh, this is nice. I can walk around. And other days, like today, it's like you walk out and get hit by like a wall of wind, and it's just like, oh man. So
it's a bit crazy. I've been watching the news over there. It's a bit crazy.
Oh, I know. It is all a bit mad.
With the Trump and the rest of it, and it's just, I mean, we're all just mind blown by it all over here, watching it. Everybody's watching it, you know.
Oh, you meant that? That stuff. No, I guess if you ask what's going on in America, and I say it's cold here, whilst we have this, experiment with democracy fiddling and falling apart, and in a
it is certainly different.
I think I really missed the essence of your question there.
Okay, well, it's freezing here, by the way. It's freezing.
Yeah, it's cold over here as well. We haven't got any snow where we are. I saw a bit of sleet this morning. But is it any snow or anything where you are, Tom?
No, right now. No, we've had some about 3 weeks ago. We had a good 8-9 inches, but nothing now. It's all gone asunder. We
just get rain and grey clouds. That's all we ever get.
Yeah, we don't get much snow down in South England anymore. So we used to. I mean, I don't know what it is. Whether it's just because I think it's because of climate change, but we get a lot less snow now than we used to. So. And of course, it's always fun to have a bit of snow, at least for the short term, and then of course you get sick of it. So,
are they getting the vaccines out over there, Tom? Are they getting the vaccines out?
No, we're not doing that well.
No, we're not.
No,
we're not very well. We're fumbling that. That should have been easy to do. I mean, America's amazing at delivering a coffee pot in 3 hours via Amazon, but we're
that's the most important thing.
We had like 8 months to plan this, and we didn't do that very well.
Yeah, over here, it's your turn. We got promised they made a deal with COVID to have 5 days off, so. We all got a week to spend with people at Christmas. Then just day before Christmas Eve, they went up said it were cancelled.
Yeah, it was crazy. And then all the kids were supposed to go back to school on Monday. Mine didn't. And then literally after one day, they said, no, actually, that's a bad idea. Okay, we're back in lockdown 3. So, hang on.
It's like the trilogy.
I know. Sorry, I've got
across the pond. Boris Johnson looks like the kind of guy that would enjoy canceling Christmas. He's like, ah ha ha!
Yeah.
He's like the Panzer villain.
Yeah, it's funny because it's like his hair is like a sort of separate life form which is trying to escape from his head.
Right.
It's kind of.
Right. He's not like a Batman villain. It's not that. He's more like the villain, like a villain in a kids movie where
actually, he's more like something out of a he's like a bit like something out of a UK sitcom. He's kind of like something out of sort of like someone was staying at the hotel at 40 Towers or something. I don't know. Sort of.
Right. Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Or he's like one of those guests that comes on to the IT crowd.
That's right. Well, I know you're a big fan of the IT crowd. I've said this before. You've got to check out the guy that did the IT crowd did Father Ted as well, which is a very, very classic UK comedy, and it's got the same same humour, and it's predominantly the people are Irish. It's just these vicars that live on this island, and Craggy Island. It's very funny. So if you like the IT Crowd, if you get the chance at some point, give it a watch. I think you'll like that. Right, guys.
I really got into.
Go on.
Sorry. No, you got to start your thing, man.
No.
I really got into Moon Boy. I loved the Irish. Sitcom,
oh, I never saw that.
From Chris O'Dowd.
I like Chris O'Dowd. Yeah, Chris O'Dowd's good.
Oh, it's like the Wonder Years in Ireland. Like in the sky's got an imaginary. It's so funny. It's just ridiculous.
I remember Wonder Years. I remember the
Star I remember Trek the Wonder Years.
Well, I remember the Star Trek episode.
Yeah.
3 years.
Sorry, Tom, your phone's humming a little bit loud at the moment. If you just want to tap it or something, it might just go away the hum a bit.
Yeah, just bang it with a hammer.
Give it a knock. It might go.
Is that a little better?
That's it. It's breaking up a bit. I think it's all right. We can go with it. I mean, it's
back in the 80s when we had problems with our telly. My dad used to go over and bang it on top.
Yeah, I did that. I used to do that with mine as well. And with mine, it's a sound though. The sound used to you have one speaker. Right. And you give it a whack, and then the speaker. That's terrible, isn't it? I know. And yeah, I've got a relative who's got a TV so big it's as thick as a credit card, and it's about 100 inches across. It's amazing. I've never seen anything like it.
Is it on the wall? Or?
Yeah, all the wires are built into the wall, and and it's the thing's just like something out of I don't know. It's like the Void thing that they use on the Mandalorian for special effects, because you know that they don't do just green screen now. They have this new thing where they have this screen that wraps around a whole studio, and they can actually. That's how they do all the special effects in Mandalorian. I think it's something like that. It's something so big now, and it's just technically I don't know how they do it, but there we go. Right, let's go to the news and let's see what's been happening. Yeah. Here we go.
Working.
Solar Sci-Fi News. Right, so this week, obviously, it's come back from the Christmas break, and I've been watching a few things. I have been watching The Expanse, which I know Martin's not seen yet. I saw episode 6 today of season 5. It was very good. Without giving spoilers, Tom, have you seen any of season 5 of The Expanse yet?
No, I love it. I love season 5 of The Expanse. I love The Expanse. Right?
Yeah, me too. It's a real classic. I mean, I think Martin's going to wait and binge watch them all in one go, aren't you?
And it's getting expanded beyond season 6. They're going to 7.
No, are they?
Yep, it's been announced.
Because I heard. That's news I've not heard.
Yeah, they're going to 7, and it looks like they might be going all the way with the 9 books.
That's fantastic. Oh, and it's just so epic, isn't it? Well, I can't wait.
You've got to do it like that.
Yeah, well, maybe when you watch season 5 and it's finished, we can do another sort of special on that again.
Oh no! Is it 10 episodes?
It's only 10 episodes. Yeah, but they're all very.
4 more weeks, I'll be there.
Yeah, it's so good, and there's some real surprises. I'm not going to say anything, and Tom will know what I'm talking about. But really good stuff. The other series, which is coming to its conclusion tomorrow, I think it is, in the UK or Friday, is Star Trek Discovery. Have you both seen all up to the season?
Yeah, I'm up to date. I'll let you guys talk about it.
Well, let me ask first, if Tom's not seen it. Have you seen it all, Tom?
I've seen it. In fact, we actually have episode 13 today, and I can watch it anytime I want. I just haven't had a chance yet.
You're up to date?
I think it's tomorrow.
We get it today.
I thought it was Thursdays and Fridays. I think you might be right. And listen, yeah, well, I'll look out for it when it comes out.
In the US, I think we get it a day early.
Normally it's on the Thursdays, but it might be. I don't know. I know what you're thinking. It'll be like midnight on Thursday from your perspective. So it'd be like probably 9 hours from wherever you are now. Something like 11 hours. So what do you think about it all? Pros and cons? Are you happy with it? Is it Star Trek? Does it feel like an imitation? Tom, let me ask you first. What do you think first, Tom?
Yeah, I like that that show seems to try to reinvent itself every year. Like season 3 has thrown them into a whole different time frame, and they're there. And I like the idea that it's not just like they're thrown into the 30th century and then they're back like at the end of the episode. They've spent a good deal of time there and experienced different things and whatnot. I think it's it's found a groove, which is pretty cool.
Yeah.
And I like that a lot. And it's allowed a lot of the characters to breathe. I just love Doug Jones as the captain. He's just extraordinarily gifted as a
Did you
performer.
One thing I liked was that they had Doug Jones in no, not that Tom Jones. Doug Jones without his makeup on. It's sort of unusual, but without the makeup on, because he was in a holographic form as a human, and I think that was really cool. Interesting to see that, because you always wonder, Data. Well, no, we saw Data in Star Trek Next Generation as Dr. Noonien Sun young, so you did see him once without the makeup on in that show. Odo, you did as well in Far Beyond the Stars. So it's funny that most of what I call the there's always a character on Star Trek which is always like the person pondering in humanity, looking at human emotions or perspectives and stuff like that. And of course, Saru is the character on Discovery, and he is actually my favourite character. He's so interesting, and I think what's neat about him is that a lot of those characters that you described reflect on the human condition. But he's in a way expands on the human condition, because he's a person of kindness and empathy. Yeah. And it's interesting to see that in a non-human character, somebody who can kind of be a kindness envoy that is not dressed up like a person. So I think he's a really neat character. I like him a lot. Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the major problems with this show has been it's been too much focusing on Michael Burnham, and I don't dislike her, but I'm not mad on her either. She's always just sort of there, and I've always wished that she'd been a bit more of an ensemble kind of show rather than she's normally the focus. Yeah. That's one of my aspects.
Yeah, that definitely seems like a change compared to other Star Treks. It's like, there's a disaster going on and no one can solve it until she shows up, and then she fixes it more or less. Yeah. Which is, I think, a bit of a disservice to the other characters. It's certainly something different. It's showing, the world of Starfleet through a specific person's eyes and their perspective. But I think there's been a little bit of backlash on her character, because it seems to be that she's related to the original series characters a lot, like Spock and Zarek.
But shoehorned in though, wasn't she?
And I think that's sort of like, she's like a shadow character. She was always technically there all the time. Yeah. Spock could have been in the bridge of the original Enterprise talking about his sister, the Captain Kirk, according to how this goes. So it's sort of like, here's this new character who's, intimately involved with all these old characters. I think it would have been stronger if she wasn't intimately involved with those other characters. Maybe she still had the same backstory, but it wasn't necessarily connected to Spock and Sarah. It could have been, somebody else. Yeah. I think that was a bit of a disservice, and it lends sort of a note of an interloper to her, which is, I love it. I mean, the actress is so engaging. That plays her, and it's just, I think I love watching her, and I love her charisma and the things she does, especially in the Mirror universe. I think she's extraordinary.
Yeah, she sort of chews up the scenery a bit, doesn't she, in those scenes?
Yeah, and her with Giorgio is just incredible. Watching those two go at it, they're just great performers.
So, obviously the series has some surprises, because Giorgio has now gone back in time, we assume, through, of all things, The Guardian of Forever. I never thought we'd see that again. So let's ask Martin, what is your perspective? I'm worried about it.
Look, I'm not knocking it. If you like it, you like it, right? You like it, right? I'm gonna be straight, and I've been devoted to Star Trek all my life.
Me too.
And this series has been absolute. I'm sorry. Right? You might not think.
No, that's fine. It's about your interpretation.
I'm going to back this up. This series has been absolute shite. Right. I'm telling you, right. I'm sick of it with her. Right. Being her destiny, and how she's always there, isn't she? all the time.
Well, that is an issue with the series. Yeah.
If you sat on the toilet, she'd be outside the door. Right. Anyway, so if you were on the toilet, she'd be outside the bloody door. Everywhere she's there. Now this series, it's just been led. I mean, the burn. If the burn is what I think it is, and oh my god, a screaming kid on a ship that screamed and all the lithium blew up. Right now, I love Star Trek, right? And this, what I'm watching at the moment, is not the way I want it to go. But fair enough, there's a whole generation that likes it. But for me, right, why is it they can get Karate Kid franchise from 36 years ago, create an amazing series called Cobra Kai, which surpasses it and respect the canon? Why is it they can do it
I think
and they can't do it?
Well,
and trust me, Cobra Kai.
Now, I think one thing, like I said, I'm in the middle here because I can see the pros and cons from both your sides. Okay, I'm not slagging off. But what I will say is this: I mean, we're going to be talking heavily on about Star Wars at the moment. Where the certain new series has really just adhered to canon, whereas the Star Trek new series hasn't. It's made it. Now, what people have said in their defence that they thought that, and I don't agree with this, they thought, well, look, if they showed the original Enterprise prop from 1966, it would look too old, too dated. But then, you know, we have seen it in A Mirror Darkly, which was made, well, it was still made 15 years ago, but when we had the Defiant in the Mirror Universe, and they actually recreated the whole classic Enterprise bridge, and they did it with different lighting and stuff. It looked awesome. And of course, with this series, they recreated the Enterprise classic and made it a whole new, completely, configuration and stuff like that. So, you know, I do think.
Why did Star Trek Continues get it right? Why did Axon out of the 20-minute get it right? Why?
There is an answer to this, and I think this is how I see it. When you watch The Mandalorian, and how I think this is all going to start with Star Wars, it is made not just by Disney, it's also made by fans who really get it.
Yeah.
With Star Trek, you've got people who know science fiction, they write science fiction, but they're not necessarily die-hard fans. There's a special essence of Star Trek which I've always seen from 1966 to 2005.
Yeah, I totally agree.
And I can't explain exactly what it is.
Yeah.
But those 5 series have all had it. Go on, Tom.
Point of view that I think comparing the aesthetics of Star Trek and Star Wars, like Star Wars back in the day was it's not functionally designed to envision the future, and it's designed to envision a fantasy technology.
It's slightly different.
So
exactly.
Right. So it's not. So that's why the technology of the Mandalorian still looks exactly like the technology of the original Star Wars. Like when he looks at a screen, you know, it's like a green highlight of a spaceship attacking him. It doesn't look like anything that would not be out of place in the original Star Wars.
Yes.
Even the holograms, like the holograms in the original Star Wars looked like crap. They were like see-through, and the new holograms look the same way. Like
they look good. Like even the monitors are black and white, but they still look good. It's really strange. I can't explain it.
Look, when they make something 40 years later, it's going to be different. I'm not expecting a remake of something that comes.
No, I didn't mean that the hologram. I meant in universe.
I know what you mean.
Great. Yeah, like the holograms didn't look great in universe, and they still don't look great now. And like the screens that they were looking at didn't look great, and they still don't look great now. And it's the same. It's a fantasy universe as opposed to a universe where
a technological. I think
the thing is we discovered it. They're just not putting this in. Look at Picard. They messed that up, didn't they?
Well, let's ask Tom. Did you like Picard? You might have liked it. I don't know.
You know what? I'll go on a journey. I like those characters. I like where
they're
going.
Yeah.
And for me, I'm not. I kind of as a writer, I'm not. Even my own worlds and characters, I like to break them. I like to sort of have them do different things and unexpected things, and flip the expectations of the person's, what they want to see on their head. So for me, I don't have a problem with something not being, quote unquote, it's not Star Trek, quote unquote.
Right.
It's, you know what? It's fun to watch. And the thing is, Picard in the new one, the Discovery, is that it is like, if you did those next generation scripts today, people would get frustrated by them because everything gets resolved in 42 minutes. What?
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Yeah.
but
You're seeing
It's still fun.
arcs. Yeah, you're seeing more complex arcs now.
but
People evolving over
I-
over
I-
a whole season.
I would say though that in defense of the Mandalorian, although it had an arc, it also had a lot of standalone episodes. It was a loose
Yes.
arc, and that worked. So
Yeah,
although
that's why it was so good.
that's
because,
part of the issue, I think that it,
and the final 3 episodes was a stroke of genius how they built it up.
Oh,
the
I know.
ultimate-
Well, we are going to
No.
focus on that on the main topic, but yeah, I mean, so
Yeah.
I think also, like I said, the people who create these shows, they making the best guesses of what they think people want to see, and as you said, Tom, a lot of shows these days don't have more of the standalone aspects of TV serialization. It is literally a series 1, series 2, or season 1, season 2, and it will have a strong arc. It will go from A to B to C to E, rather than people like me who prefer having them all and then think, well, let's watch episode 5 when this happened, or let's watch episode 8 when this happened. And I think that's just the nature of how TV. But why Star Wars has got it so right, based on the...
Just a last word on Discovery. When we had Samuel on the podcast, I agree. He said one thing. He said the original series, like the original, you go back to it all the time.
Yeah.
But with Discovery, you don't go back to it.
No, because you can't delve into...
Yeah.
I agree about
That's
that.
very true.
And that's because you can't.
I don't. Yeah, I don't imagine I would do that again. I would watch an individual because it's a 10-hour commitment to dive back in again.
Yeah,
It's not like that casual thing where you can
Just
watch
go into an
piece of
episode.
television.
Yeah.
But I would do it with the Mandalorian. And the thing with the Mandalorian,
I have.
Yeah.
I've already done it.
Yeah,
I've already done it.
I don't want to. I want to save my big point about serialization for when we actually
All right.
have the discussion.
Okay.
on the
That's fine.
Mandalorian.
But yeah. But okay. So that's the interesting difference between those two series at the moment. So
can I just say, Doctor Who has it's they've done it with that as well, haven't they? They've destroyed that now.
well, Tom, do you like Doctor Who? Are you familiar with it?
Yeah. We talked about that. My last one. I like
yes,
it
you did.
more
Yes, sorry.
casually.
Yeah.
And more of amusement than I'm like a diehard fan. So it's fine.
It got its lowest ratings ever on New Year's Day in Christmas specials. It got its lowest ratings. Yeah.
Well, actually, but it was the top BBC show of the day, and also ratings.
And it could be again.
Yeah, but ratings generally on TV are going down because people are switching to streaming sites or podcasts or YouTube. It's not like I said, we've got 4 channels like we used to have, and no other avenues of entertainment apart from playing.
But what I'm saying is that when you respect the property, I'm not saying make it the same as it was before, but look at Cobra Kai. I don't know if you've seen it.
I've heard of it. I've not seen it. I've heard of it.
Trust me. Yeah, 3 seasons of that, and the final episode, my God, it was such a build-up. And this is about a kid that did karate in the 80s. And what they've done with it, they've moved it so much on, but they've kept the roots in it. And they've grown around it. And it's like the Mandalorian, what they've got it right. Why can't Doctor Who or Star Trek, why can't they do that with that again? Instead we're just all over the place with it now.
Well, it might be in their defence that sometimes it's time for a show to finish and make a new show like The Expanse, where you're not completely confined you're not confined to 50 or 60 years worth of continuity. And Star Wars has that, but luckily at the moment Star Wars is just sailing through. So look, let's just finish off the news now. I think. Is there any other news that you come across you want to share, Martin or Tom? Anything?
Just Superman, Batman, and Wonder Woman are getting a movie together.
Oh,
no.
James Gunn officially confirms an R rating for Suicide Squad. We've got some Trekkie news. Whoopi Goldberg talks about Johnny Stark.
Yeah, I heard about that. Yeah.
We knew that anyway.
Yeah,
so,
that's good. I would like to see that.
This is it. It's official. They've invented a suitcase-sized minigun that comes out of a suitcase.
Well, that's something out of James Bond or something.
No, it's real. I'm looking at it now. It's like a Gatling gun that comes out of a suitcase and kills everybody. Which,
Okay.
well, that's James Bond, isn't it? It's great.
That's all right.
And that's this week's sci-fi news. There's nothing really much. That's it.
No, I can't remember her name, but the actress who was in A View to a Kill, they thought that she died, and then some people said that she actually hadn't died, and then she
Well,
has
she was
died.
alive this afternoon, then she died again.
Oh, so I can't remember her name. Yeah, she's now died now.
Tanya Roberts.
That's it.
Tanya
Yeah.
Roberts,
Oh, man.
Charlie's Angels.
Yeah, I heard about that.
She was in Beastmaster. Beastmaster. I don't know if you've seen
No.
Beastmaster.
Yeah, I've seen it. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
her, yes.
She had ups and downs with certain roles she took.
Yes. She was always, they like to put her into certain poses in certain barbarian movies.
Do
That's
they?
all I'm gonna say.
Okay.
Yeah, she was great at like those kind of cheesy sort of
Yeah.
sort of, yeah.
Yeah. Sounds
Yeah.
good.
But she did pass away.
That's a shame. It's awful,
she's
isn't it?
alive again on last report. She's alive.
Oh, she's
again.
alive again.
Yeah,
Oh,
she's
hang on. Oh.
5 times now.
No, but hang on. She died and then she was alive, and then I heard she died again, and you're saying now she's alive again for the full time?
Yeah, she was. It came up this afternoon that she's alive again. Yeah.
Oh, you're kidding.
She's been dying since yesterday. She keeps coming back. I don't know what's going on. I don't know. We can't even get that right.
Well,
can
mind
we?
you, she's reminding me of Captain Jack from Doctor Who at the moment, by the sound of it. I know it sounds a bit horrible, but oh dear.
Well, I hope.
No, I don't want that. I mean, like I said,
She's a very nice person.
yeah, of course
you
she is.
know.
Let me have a look at the entertainment very quickly. Actually, she just gone blank. Hang on a second. It doesn't say. Yeah, I don't know. Now, listen. Before we go on to the main topic of the week, I wanted to hear from Tom about of your book news. Anything that's happening with you with your aspect of the Timberwolves series? Well, how's things going over there with you?
Oh, thanks, man. Things are going good. The book's been out for about the new book's been out for about 2 months. Symmetry, the sequel to Timberwolf.
Right.
And it's getting really, really good reviews. It's actually on sale today.
Brilliant.
In the next week, both of the books are on sale. One's free and the other's 99 cents.
Brilliant.
So if anybody wants to pick it up,
Do you want to give us any
go
links or any information of where we can get that?
Yeah, just go to tomjulian.com and you'll get a link to the books.
Brilliant. Okay, I'll make sure that I
That's
send
all
a
you
link.
gotta do.
I'll send a
That's all
link
you
in the podcast when we release it tomorrow.
Cool.
It's so cool to have a proper author, sci-fi writer on the show.
God.
And
Awesome.
I hope that. I think it'd be really nice for us both if you could come back on a semi-regular basis, depending on your schedules in the future when we do some reviews. So obviously, if you can come back for future shows, then please do. That'd be lovely.
No, it's always a blast
Yeah.
to hang out. It's a blast to hang out with you guys.
Yeah.
It is fun to nerd out for a good hour in the middle of the day.
Yeah, well,
honestly, no, I blocked some time out of my work data.
Yeah,
with
when
you
you said
guys, so
that,
Yeah.
because you said to me, I blocked off some time, and I was really dense. I thought, what does he mean? And of course, then you obviously meant your calendar blocking out, and I was really dense when I felt a bit embarrassed about that. You must have thought, what does he not know what blocking out means? But of course, I think it's a term that's more used in America than the UK. So I apologise for sounding a bit dense when I was put a question mark about that.
Not a problem. I could have like really gone, talk to you about that for a while. You don't know what blocking time is.
Yeah, no, that's fine.
It's it's when you
no, exactly.
I made up some random sci-fi off the culture BS and
you could have really thrown me,
I
couldn't
could
you?
have done that.
Actually, next time I
Yeah.
talk to you, I might have to be aware of that. You might want to get, because I'm a big fan of pranks, so also getting a few pranks my end as well. But I think I'm pretty fair at receiving them as well as giving them.
Oh man,
Brilliant. All right, well let's go
But,
into our focus of the week because we've got a big one to talk about. Here we go. It's the jingle.
It's
The Solar Sci-Fi
focus of the week.
All right, so this week we are going to be talking about a series of new shows coming along, but the main focus to begin with, of course, is a series which only finished a couple of weeks ago. Half of the sci-fi world was screaming at their TVs when what happened, and of course that was The Mandalorian. Just to say, if you've not seen the end of Mandalorian Season 2, there are going to be spoilers, so you have been warned. So let's start at this time with Martin. The Mandalorian, it's 2 seasons down. What do you think of it?
My God. By the gods of science fiction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think you like it. I think he likes it, yeah.
It started, 1 week it started, I was watching it, and then suddenly his ship got vaporised.
I couldn't believe that in season 2.
And we're like, what?
The Razor
and then
Crest, yeah, I know.
week after, we got Ahsoka Tano. And then we got Big Boba Fett.
It was the other way around, but it was Ahsoka first, then the ship got blasted.
Yeah, the ship got blown
Then we had
up. And then
Slave
we got
1. Slave 1 suddenly flew
Slave
in.
1.
I love that ship.
Yeah.
I love Slave 1.
And then they gave us the cherry on the cake, didn't they?
Did you think it was going to
For me,
happen? I couldn't believe it.
I saw that X-Wing come in. It called in. They were like going, "Who's in there? Hello, who are you?"
I didn't see it. I had no idea.
No, I didn't.
I still
thought
didn't see it even then.
Ahsoka.
I couldn't believe it.
I knew something was coming.
Yeah,
I'm sitting there with my
I thought,
son.
no.
My son and I are 12. He's 12.
Yeah, my
I'm
son's
also
12 as well. Yeah, my son's 12 as well.
Yeah. So we're watching the battle. They're locked. They're stuck there on the bridge.
Yeah.
And I'm like, Liam, there's a piece missing. I'm like,
Yes,
what are you talking
yes.
about? I was like, remember he called to somebody when he.
I
wrote
knew
through
that.
the
Yeah,
video?
yeah.
There's a piece missing.
Yeah.
And my son, he dramatically puts the thing on pause. He's like, what are you talking about that? And like I went into the theory. He's like, buddy, there's something missing here. Remember? And when the X-Wing pulled up, I'm used to TV disappointing me and
Yes.
not getting like that.
That's what I thought.
Big treat you want. So I'm like, oh, it's an X-Wing, but it's going to be some like random guy or somebody's stolen an X-Wing, or it's going to be something stupid. And then when he started coming through in the green lightsaber, I'm like, wait a minute. I still felt I was going to be ultimately disappointed. Like he's going to pull his hood back, and it's going to be like, I'm Ezra Bridger, like somebody from one of the cartoons or something.
Clone Wars. Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well.
And when it was literally Luke Skywalker, I was like, damn, that was that was my my Star Wars figures come to life, which I think is a great way to describe the Mandalorian.
Oh, it's every
like,
Star Wars fan's dream. I mean, it's literally a 5-year-old.
That scene where he just stood there, it was like Star Wars just rebooted.
Well, I did cry a bit. I have to admit, as a grown man, I did. I'm sorry.
I did.
I cried a bit. My son and I, we were watching the green lightsaber come, and he looked at me, and I looked at him, and I thought, no. And I was like, no, it's going to be someone like, you know how like the character got the Mandalorian's Beskar armor in the first episode of season 2. I thought someone's got Luke Skywalker's lightsaber, or it's another Jedi.
Exactly.
And I thought, they won't do that, or it's going to be an actor who looks like him. And yes, the CGI is not 100%, but I was so blown away. And then the thing is, it felt like it was the end of the series, because at the end of the episode, it suddenly said, we then went back to Tatooine and we saw Jabba's palace, and we saw Bib, whatever his name is, the character from Return of the Jedi, get killed. And then it said the next book is going to be the Book of Boba Fett. I thought, because the Mandalorian had chapters, I thought that maybe that was the end of the first book of the Mandalorian, and then the book, it would be the Book of Boba Fett, which would be season 3 of the Mandalorian. And so I was a bit confused about that. And of course, it turns out, like this series has done, this is why Star Trek, again, they never do anything. We all thought Q would come back in the last episode of Picard. Nothing. This one not only gave us Luke Skywalker, they gave us a brand new series as well.
Yeah.
I mean,
and we are getting Luke Skywalker the series now.
I mean, I've got all the episodes, all the actual shows coming up. I'm going to run those past you both in a minute. But I mean, the whole series has just been. I honestly, the best thing of 2020 for me was obviously, family and friends are important as well, but at least for entertainment and just pure joy of watching was The Mandalorian. It literally was.
I
can't believe how good it was.
The power of that moment, because when I went onto Facebook after I watched it, it was a light. It was burning.
You texted me about, and I watched it about 2 minutes before you texted me, and we were like, what? I honestly, and it's like, it was so strange because I was so shocked. I was just walking around in a daze for the whole Christmas after watching that. I know it sounds like a bit of an overreaction, but it was that amazing that I never thought a TV series, apart from obviously the Star Trek series before, sort of.
And do you know what was interesting? That
because so good.
Facebook, and we've got friends all over the world now. We're all like talking.
Yeah.
The reaction of people in different countries at that moment was incredible.
Yeah, it was incredible.
This love for this character globally,
and they kept the secret. Mark Hamill, because he did the voice, and apparently he was there when they filmed it. And he said he was amazed that they kept this secret for a whole year. Absolutely fantastic. I mean, I cannot, and then even brought back R2-D2 at the end as well, and then Grogu went off, and it was just everyone. Yeah, I was literally 5 years old again.
It was. Do you remember Rogue One when Vader lit the lightsaber up in the scene?
It was the best thing since then, and they were I saw some parallels because it both starts off with the door opening, and then the lightsaber turns on, and then he comes out, of course, and then in this one it was the Dark Troopers rather than the Rebel soldiers. Fantastic.
He is so powerful. The power he wielded, he just went through them like they were paper mache.
Yeah, and exactly. And it's the only thing that could get through him was a lightsaber. It was so clever. I mean, what do you both think about the production standards of this series? Because I think it's, everyone it's just like a film. It's just like watching a film.
I think it is very much. It's very cinematic. It's incredible the way that things they can pull off on a weekly basis is really strong.
Yeah.
To be honest, it's like when you're. I mean, it brings you back. I think the best way to describe it is that it is the realization of what we remembered Star Wars to be like.
Yeah.
Because we have like a memory of what it made us feel and how we loved it, and what it made us play. Like when we were pretending and we had our little people and figures and run around the backyard and play Star Wars.
Yeah.
So, but if you go back and watch Star Wars, like, well, okay, it's. I remember it made me feel that way, but it's
so long ago now.
Yeah, but the Mandalorian feels like that's really what it is. It's like if I was to go outside in my backyard as a little kid and imagine my own Star Wars universe, it would probably be a lot like the Mandalorian.
Absolutely. So
and they've captured that. Yeah.
They have absolutely captured it, and it that's what's so successful because Dave Filoni and the other guy, they are pure Star Wars fans. They get it. They understand what it's all about, and they're now going to be involved with all these spin-offs as well. So let me run off some of these spin-offs that we're getting because I want to see what you think about it. So we've got Star Wars Rogue Squadron, which I think is the one. Is that the one that's set after the Rise, the Last Jedi, the Rise of Skywalker? I think that's the one that's going to be one, which is going to be a film. Because there's two which sound similar, which I get confused with. There's Star Wars Rogue Squadron, and there's also Star Wars Rangers of the New Republic. So I'm not sure which is which way around they are. But one is set...
I have no idea when all of these are set.
What's a film
and what's
a show? Can you say that again? Star Wars...
There's Star Wars Rogue Squadron.
Yeah.
And I think that's the one that's set after The Rise of Skywalker. And Star Wars Rangers of the New Republic.
Yeah, that'll be the new... That'll be set after the fall of the Empire and that.
New Republic. Okay.
Yeah.
So we got that, and then we've got Star Wars Obi-Wan Kenobi, and Luke Skywalker coming back as well, and not Luke Skywalker. Hayden Christensen's coming back. What do you two think about that? Do you think that'd be good?
I think it's going to be clever how they're going to introduce them into it. It's going to be. They're no doubt going to blow our minds with what they've got planned for that.
Yeah.
So,
go on.
One of my favorite things ever was the arc of Darth Maul in the Star Wars Rebels and in Clone Wars. I thought that they handled that so expertly, and it really was.
I'm still watching Clone Wars. I'm starting. No. I'm into beginning season 3 of Clone Wars, and it's suddenly at the end of season 2 and beginning season 3 so far. It's really picked up. It was okay the first season, but I can tell that it's really, from my perspective, it's really finding itself now. And we just had.
It's so good. I mean, Dave Filoni did both of those. He did both Rebels and Clone Wars, and the characters and everything he puts together, which kind of dovetail with the Mandalorian. It's clear where they're coming from. I mean, it's so cool.
Yeah.
Like there's just from the get go, like all the underworld stuff in Clone Wars. the Cad Bane, that new bounty hunter they had was.
Well, I
was
just the last one I saw.
Amazing.
I've just seen the one where we saw Boba Fett, and he was actually with a load of the clones, the younger clones, and he was trying to get back to Mace Windu to kill him, and that was good.
Yeah,
that was a good 2 or 3 parter.
Yeah,
really good stuff.
I mean, it just. I was amazed that he was able to take guys that are literally the exact same person and differentiate them both visually and as characters. Like all the clones are different, even though they've got
different haircuts or yes, but they look different. Yes, or tattoos. Yeah, I like that. That was very clever. Yeah, so I'm gonna.
And the way that they treated them as almost like their own little definitive culture. I always thought, like, well, what's a clone going to be like? Is he going to be all about, like, just fighting and war and nothing like that?
Yeah.
But they did a really good job of making each and every one of them like an empathetic character, like a frontline soldier who really cared about his. I like how they say, like, my brothers. They're always talking like that. I just thought that was really neat, and they really changed literally characters that are one-dimensional in every aspect into three-dimensional,
and it's
people.
I was going to say that because a lot of people are critical of the prequels, which I've always liked actually, but they're saying so many people are seeing the prequels now as so much better because of the way it's entwined with Clone Wars, which is a very clever thing. So I think that's a very clever idea as well.
They were like Solo, wasn't it? It was like Solo at the end when you saw Darth Maul.
Yes, which is linked to...
Which was a nice, beautiful touch, wasn't it?
Yeah.
But my big problem with the prequels was that it was clear no one was saying no to George Lucas. And they just made, like, whatever he wanted to do.
Yeah.
People were just going to do it. And really, if you look at the original Star Wars, where he had lots of collaborators, great editors, great production designers that were really trying to stretch the dollar, and they had to think of interesting ways to tell stories.
Yeah.
Instead of that, he's just like, I can do whatever I want, and I don't have to get out of this chair, put my coffee down. I can just, do whatever. And it turned out to be pretty messy.
Yes, it did.
And it didn't have the heart it needed. I just remember, like, it's so, to me, I'm like watching this movie. I'm like, man, it seems to be like a movie about meetings, and it's just this very
bit different,
very strange in that way. So I would love to. I think the core of the prequels are great, but the execution is inexcusable as far as like how it was put together.
But I mean, did you like the fact that it was, at least because a lot of people are very critical of the sequels, that they were kind of almost like made up as they went along, whereas the prequels, at least, they did have a proper story arc. Would you agree with that? Would you agree with that perspective?
I would definitely agree with that perspective as a storyteller myself, that the prequels at least knew where they were going, even if they were going and kind of bumping their head as they went along.
Yeah.
But the second and the third sequel, The Last Jedi and The Rise of Skywalker, are corrections of one another. Like, it's like...
Yes, because of the mistakes of... what's the guy that did the Last Jedi?
Rian Johnson.
That's it, Rian Johnson. And of course, he went very quiet, didn't he? We've not heard from him again, I don't think.
He made Knives Out, which is okay. I like that movie. It was pretty entertaining and charming. But what he did there was, like, what they did, or what Kathleen Kennedy allowed, was really kind of surprising to me because of the nature of having, Disney and it being locked down and it being Star Wars and being an incredibly valuable intellectual property. From seeing what, like, the Marvel Universe did, like, over, like, 22 movies or however many darn Marvel movies there are, how everything was fairly cohesive, even though there are a couple stinkers in there. But everything was sort of part of the bigger plan, whereas these Star Wars movies, I think they just kind of just said, okay, just go do what you want. And that was a huge disservice.
Well, it's interesting because... it's interesting because I'm not a big follower of Marvel. I know Martin's a huge fan of the Marvel franchise, if that's the correct term. But it indicates to me with all these respective series that Star Wars now thinks, hang on a minute, we can do something similar, at least on TV and partly on films, where all these series, to a degree, can intertwine and make it the sum of the whole, which I know that's what Marvel's done. Because part of the problem with Marvel is I don't see a lot of the Marvel films, but Martin will point out, like, oh, this character's been in this film, but I've not seen the original film. But you would know, Martin, because you're a fan and you've seen... That's the difference. So I think Star Wars.
They have done very well. It's a 10-year story arc with independent.
And I think that's exactly what Star Wars are going to be doing now, mostly on the small screen. And I think it's going to work.
Well,
I think it's going to be good.
I think it's the way they've done it with the continuous storytelling of the small screen.
Yeah.
I think the concept of the films, they go like, okay, we have to, define the culture of the world with this movie, and it was such a big event that they couldn't take the time to let you get to know characters. So I was always wondering, why isn't Dave Filoni directing the sequels? Why isn't he involved in this at all?
I don't know. Maybe this is the big question.
I don't know.
And that was like he was the visionary. He's like the heir apparent to George Lucas.
So how
these
come
other guys were sort of pretending?
Him and John Favreau, definitely. Yeah.
So why did Ryan Johnson get it then for The Last Jedi? That's the biggest question.
I think they wanted a quote unquote film director, and they wanted somebody to handle it that way. Whereas they should have treated it like, the long story machinery that Filoni had put together over those series, which hold out over hundreds of episodes. It's not just like that he managed to tell a story over 5 or 6 hours. There are 75 hours of Clone Wars and Rebels that hold together incredibly well.
Yep.
And now this new universe, which is all these new Star Wars series, it's think of the new guard. It's Dave Filoni, Taika Waititi, all those.
They're going to be the big names, aren't they, in the future? Yeah.
Yeah.
Such exciting times.
Right, and they're fairly. I mean, I know Dave Filoni's got a bit of gray hair, but it's like young, hardworking people that have great sensibilities and are huge fans that are they grew up with Star Wars. It's people our age, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Everybody that's involved in Star Wars is mid-40s, early 50s.
Yeah, 48 like me. Yeah,
they fell in love with it. It's Taika Waititi, like I said, and Bryce Dallas Howard, all those actors and people that are involved in it. And what I think is really interesting about the Mandalorian, if you notice, it's very all the guest stars are comedians. Have you ever noticed that?
Yeah, Bill Burr. I've not heard of Bill Burr, but he's really. I've been watching some of his YouTube. He's really funny.
Yeah, he is.
He's really funny, and he's not a Star Wars fan at all. But my God, his second episode, didn't he do well in that episode with the believer when he comes up against that Imperial officer who, of course, is a strong believer in the Empire, which is what the name of the episode was based on, and that was such a good scene. It was so good. That moment
with that Imperial officer,
his dedication, that was classic.
But he said, "We're not good or evil. It's about order and his belief," and it was quite scary, because you're getting a look at the stormtroopers and the people behind the helmets.
Yeah.
And they're just when that old garrison got wiped out under the Bill Burr, when his squad got wiped out. And the other guy said, "Well, you survived, didn't you?"
Yeah.
And it was your stormtroopers have lives. They're people. They've got families.
Now, I mean, that episode was it was so interesting because it was the first ever time that we've seen the perspective of not the evil empire. These, like you say, these are ordinary people who just happen to be on that side of the war. And of course, there's a scene where all the stormtroopers and Mars troopers are all waving their hands and cheering. And then the TIE fighters, and they get the hero music when the TIE fighters come out to kill the pirates and stuff. And it was really interesting perspective. So memorable, that episode. That was one of my favourites, actually, of the series, season 2. But, I mean, every episode of season 2, there was not one dud. Every one had such good moments. And that's to me, what makes it so exciting for all that's happening. I mean, like I said, we've also mentioned that the Mandalorian, the Boba Fett story is going to come along, which is going to be interesting. I don't know what do you think about it? Do you think he'll be just in Jabba's palace, or will he go on? Because I mean, I said this to you, Martin, that his helmet, it used to have yellow stripes on one side, which meant that he was like a bounty hunter, but now it's changed to a different meaning. I mean, what do you think that series will entail from initial ideas?
I mean, he did Bib Fortuna, didn't he? I mean, he was sat there and he blew him away.
Yeah.
And I love the scene where Ming-Na, she's an awesome actress.
Yeah, I like her. She was good as well. Yeah.
I loved it. He was sat on the throne and she just sat next to him.
Swinging the
camera.
Yeah.
Pulled away.
That was so cool.
What a scene. I don't know. I think there's going to be there seems to be something with the Mandalorians in him.
Yeah. Okay. What do you think, Tom?
It's interesting because what we don't know is anything about what Boba Fett actually wants.
Yeah.
Like, we don't know why he was sitting on. I mean, he obviously was sitting on that throne because he was
taking over the underworld.
Yeah, and he wanted to get back at Jabba's people for what happened on the sail barge or whatever. But we don't know what he wants, right? There is
something. They might pull a twist, There could be. That when he got knocked into the Great Sarlacc pit in
Return of Jedi, yeah.
Maybe he wants revenge on Han Solo.
Well,
maybe they might bring him in at the end of Boba Fett, the book of Boba Fett. They might do a Luke Skywalker right at the end. We get the young Han Solo who blows him away or whatever.
But if they did that, we know he's going to survive because we've seen him in later films as yeah, it could do. It could be something there. I don't know.
Yeah,
I wonder. I just may speculating. It'd be cool though.
But they're getting better.
Think about him.
I was going to say,
what's Boba Fett's big grievance?
I don't know.
Yeah, I was wondering that.
He don't seem the type to rule an empire, does he? He's more an independent operator, really.
Well, maybe he'll be like a figurehead. Maybe he'll be like a figurehead where I don't know.
Maybe he doesn't want to rule that crime empire. Maybe he just did that because he wanted to get back at those folks. But I think it's a curveball, right? I don't think it's going to be like him taking over the Hutt crime empire. I think that what he's going to do is leverage that for some sort of unexpected thing we don't know about right now. That's what I think is happening.
I'm sure they'll come up with some great idea. I mean, I totally trust the writers in this. I totally trust them. They'll do something great.
Season 3 of the Mando is about the Black Saber.
Well,
no doubt.
I mean, I know that Mandalore gets destroyed or wiped out because they said it turns to glass. The episodes I'm watching, it's still standing at the moment. So this year it's going to be me catching up with all the animated series, i.e. Clone Wars and Rebels.
Oh, you're going to love it.
I know. Well, I'm getting into it, actually. I mean, I'm not a big animated fan, but I can see it's just starting to get good, Clone Wars, at the beginning of Season 3 now. I can tell that the writing seems to be a lot more solid, and I'm more used to it, perhaps. I don't know. But, yeah, I'm really looking forward to it.
Have you gotten to the Darth Maul yet?
No.
I know. Okay, that's
no, I know he comes back. I know that he apparently he survived. He has like a robot body or something. I know about that, but but I don't know too much about it. Yeah.
Do you know the one to get to play Thrawn? Apparently, it's Robert Downey Jr.
Yeah.
As Admiral Thrawn.
Now that's a character leading on to another Star Wars series, Ahsoka. So, what do you think that would entail again? I mean, what would be... I mean, I suppose in some ways you can't tell me, can you?
I can't tell you the ending of Rebels.
As I asked that, I realised that you can't tell me. Okay, well that's interesting. So we've got that. Then we've got the Rangers of the Republic series, which I still... Like I said, the Rogue Squadron Rangers I get confused with. Then we've got a Lando series. Now, what do you think, Lando Calrissian series?
I hope they get the young guy that played him.
I thought that was a joke.
No, it's a series. Yeah, it's true.
Well, you remember the guy that played him in Solo? I thought he
was quite good. I thought he was quite good, actually.
Awesome.
Yeah.
Donald Glover.
That's it. Yeah, he was good. Yeah, I think it's Donald Glover,
yeah. I don't know where they're going to go with that.
Is that these series don't necessarily have to be long-running forever.
No, I think some of them are going to be like a one-season thing, which is fine. It's not like a 10-season thing. It's like an extra bonus for you to enjoy.
I love that. I absolutely think that we're in a golden age of television. It's not even television. It's not
TV anymore.
Entertainment. Because television used to have to be 42 minutes long and have specific breaks.
Right, sorry about that, everybody. Sorry, Tom, carry on what you were saying. Sorry, we've got some technical issues. Go on.
Yeah, I love the way that television doesn't have to be 42 minutes long anymore, and it doesn't have to be 7 seasons and whatnot. You can do whatever, and you have 10 episode seasons and things like that. And I like 6. I watch. You guys ever see Peaky Blinders? I think it's a show done in the UK.
No,
it's
I've
like
not
6.
I know it. I've not seen
Yeah,
it.
it's like six episodes a season, and then they put out a season every like year and a half. It's nothing like conventional TV whatsoever. But it's a different way to tell stories that have to be done in a certain way. So it's cool.
There's more. There's another series that writing where they've really 10 episodes. They've really whacked out the entire universe. It's Doom Patrol. It's totally screwed up and it's weird. And it's 10 episodes and it works wonderfully like the Mando. This is where television's going. This is where it's all going now.
It doesn't have to be like extensive for years. Like one season, almost like a long film chopped up into bits, kind of thing.
Yeah, exactly.
And I like that. I mean, another Star Wars series is Andor, which is the prequel to Rogue One. That looks good. You two look forward to that one as well?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to I'm not looking forward to the droids thing.
Oh, a droid story.
Yeah.
Well, there's two. There's a Bad Batch, which apparently is a sequel to Clone Wars. Bad Batch is a sequel to Clone Wars, which features clones.
Oh, that's going to be great.
It's another animated. Yeah, it's animated. Yeah, that's
I'm really
animated.
looking forward to that one.
Yeah, and then there's also the Acolyte, which is apparently set hundreds of years before the Luke Skywalker era. I mean, this is so exciting. Honestly, I can't believe all this stuff.
There's like 100,000 years of history in the Star Wars universe.
This is just going to make Star Wars, I reckon, bigger than Marvel if they could do it right, because I just feel so much more confident with what they're doing, and Disney has such a powerful influence now in media with their Disney streaming thing that and they've got the money to do it, and I think it's going to happen. It's going to be exciting.
You know what I think they're going to do? I think they're going to do Young Palpatine.
Oh, you mean an Acolyte? Could that be an Acolyte? No, Acolyte. I don't know how long.
Yeah. I mean, it's got that sort of name, hasn't it? Acolyte,
Like maybe he's focused on Darth Plagueis or something.
That's what I mean. Yeah, like young Palpatine. Before
We don't know how old Palpatine is, though, do we?
No.
That makes. Oh, I bet they'll do that. Oh, that could be interesting.
I mean, you'd say him when he becomes evil, because I've read his backstory. He's quite.
Oh, this is so exciting.
That would be a great. I'd love to see who they get to play the young Palpatine. That's like a perfect role for an amazing.
Matt Smith would be great as the young Palpatine.
Matt Smith? Do you? I don't know. I can't see him.
I think so. Yeah.
I can't see him being a young Palpatine. I don't know. No.
Would you want to be a young?
I don't know.
Could be.
I don't know.
There's lots of amazing.
I mean, they'd probably have to have a British actor. They'll have a British actor with the accent, of course. But
of course.
I don't know.
Hey, I got a question.
The
How
whole
come the British actors are always playing evil characters? In movies?
I know. We always do. I don't know why.
That is
it's a bit racist, isn't it? It's a bit kind of like. That's not. So it's like we're the force of darkness, and you Americans are the force of light. I mean, I think it's quite funny. I think it's funny.
Why this is? This is because of Die Hard and Alan Rickman. That's why.
Yeah, but Alan Rickman was after Star Wars, though, wasn't he?
Yeah. I mean, that's why the English have been stereotyped as baddies.
He didn't have a British accent in Die Hard.
But in Star Trek, you've got Picard. He's the goodie, and he's got the British accent. And then, of course,
that's true.
A lot of the aliens or other people have got American accents. So Star Wars does it the other way around, I suppose.
I don't want to talk about
Star Trek, rather.
Because everybody came from up north and they were British in that.
I like Alien 3. I know it wasn't like the first two. I still thought it was all right. I thought it was quite funny.
That had Pete Postlewaite was in that.
Yes, he was. Pete Postlewaite.
He's one of the best actors of all time. He was just, always in that role where he was like the guy.
There's a great film with him called Among Giants, where he's a guy living in the north, and he works with his crew where they paint electric pylons, and it sort of falls into a sort of love story.
For that years ago, I remember.
Hey, I've got it. I've got it. I've got a digital copy of it. Actually, it's actually a very good film. It's not sci-fi at all, but he was really good in that. And he's an older man, he's a middle-aged man, and he falls for this New Zealand girl who's in her 20s, and it's a good film. It's a good drama. If you want to see a Pete Postlethwaite film, then I recommend you watch Among Giants, because it's a good solid film. It's a British film, but I like it. I thought it was very good.
I suppose we do play the best villains then, really, I suppose.
Yeah, well, why? Is it just the way we pronounce our words, is it? Or what is it that makes us sound so evil? This is the Solar One podcast.
Sound evil. Yeah, there you go. I don't know. It's there's probably essays written about why that sounds evil. So it might be because of filmmaking being a very American Hollywood concept.
Yeah,
most of the actors that come in to play the roles are Americans, and Americans are used to hearing American accents films made.
So it gives a different perspective. You mean from having a
so it shows up this guy who, and we think of of British accents as being more refined and more people that are here to
well, you get the
impose order.
stereotypical Brits. God blimey, Mary Poppins, like for Cockney, or the ones with the.
You haven't met anybody at Space.
Yeah, you know what I mean, or people who sound like Prince Charles, like oh hello there.
Yeah,
It's more of the. I think it might even be a hangover from the concept of the British Empire.
Yeah,
where they're here to impose will and order. So it's something like that. And you've got guys like.
Back in 60s and 70s, when we used to get a lot of TV series from America, it's a lot of British production with the Americans. It was the leader or the hero was the American, and then the second in command was British. Like UFO, it's an American commander. Detectives are like the Baron. It was an American spy, but he works with the English. There was a lot of that back in.
But there's one example of American as a leader in a British show, Space 1999. Martin Landau was the American, and he was the head of Moonbase Alpha, and he was American, and it was a British show. So there you go.
To put an American actor in to sell the programs to the American people. That's why
he was great in it. I thought he was great in it.
It's crazy. I think when it comes to villains, especially in the United States, we don't like to cast ourselves as villains.
That
sounds oddly enough. It's okay, we gotta. If you watch like spy movies, it's always like, who's this guy? He's some, Bulgarian terrorist or something like that. He's not American. We like to think of ourselves as heroic, regardless of the random stuff we do. And using a British actor makes things just, it's slightly a twist. It's not too exotic.
Not like a German or something like that.
It's a truck. You think the Germans have
50s and 60s without war films, didn't they? I mean,
it is strange, isn't it? I think I love the fact that our respective cultures, how you're perceived as being as a role. You never get like an Australian baddie, do you? Like, g'day, mate. G'day, mate. I'm going to destroy the world, mate. It's always like British. You never had an Australian baddie, have you? All you have is like. It's weird.
I think there was an Australian baddie in a James Bond movie, but he was played by a British guy.
I was going to say often the James Bond baddies are either a European country or Russia. They're Russian or German, or they're from I don't know.
In games like Call of Duty, it's always the Russian insane general that's broken off from the government and is going to nuke America and Britain, and then to send in the special forces to deal with it.
It's strange. Well, let's. I think we should start wrapping up. But it is interesting, as you say, how Star Wars has had the especially during the films, how the Imperials, they're all British. And if you watch the Empire Strikes Back, you recognise all the actors who have been on Doctor Who and British TV shows, and it is strange then that all the heroes are American. And it wasn't so much in Rogue One though. The guy that was the bad in Rogue One, he was American, wasn't he?
He's English.
Was he? He wasn't English. Was he the one that's?
He played the Vision in Avengers.
Oh,
and he was Jarvis. Tony Stark's computer.
Oh, so okay.
So in the Back to the Mandalorian, Moff Gideon, played by an American.
Oh, he's great. That guy. He's in Breaking Bad.
He's good actor.
Have either of you seen Breaking Bad?
Yeah.
Breaking Bad. He's in that.
Giancarlo Esposito.
Yeah, I really like him. Brilliant actor.
Yeah, it looks like Star Wars is starting to make a more of a commitment to diversity. There's a lot of Hispanic actors and black actors
Yes,
that are playing
like the guy
various
in
roles.
Andor. Yep, absolutely. And I
Yeah,
think that's a
Andor.
good thing.
Pablo Pascal.
Yep.
Moff Gideon's African American, and I think a Latino actor playing his part. I mean, there is nothing. There's some actors, regardless of race, creed, whether they're British or not, they're just great villains.
Yes.
They're always villains.
Absolutely.
Well, that's why I loved it, because the three women at the end, Katie Sackhoff and Ming Na, they were like three women with him, and they just kicked ass, and it was fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, some people are saying that scene was representative of women being in charge. But the thing is, without going too into it, I mean, a lot of these current shows like Doctor Who and Star Trek, they do seem to slightly over focus on political correctness. Whereas they still do that in The Mandalorian, and rightfully so, but they do it in a way where it doesn't seem so pointed out. It's just three female. It feels natural. It just feels like there's these three female characters. It doesn't matter that they're female. They're just doing what they're doing. Whereas you watch some of these other shows, and it's like, oh, we've got you've got to have a gay character. You've got to have sort of like these sort of minority things in the forefront, just because it's politically correct. And I always think that all for that, but do it in a way where it's kind of like doesn't feel like they're just ticking off the boxes on the page when they're making the series. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I think it's gonna be naturally gonna. In this, when that happens, I almost feel like, well, why is this character not developed? And I think, well, maybe it's because they brought them in to do a certain thing and to have a certain face. Whereas with The Mandalorian, with Katie Sackhoff's character,
she's good.
That's she's been playing that role for like a decade.
Yeah, well, she's very like Starbuck, isn't she? And in Battlestar Galactica and stuff like that. So absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, listen, I think that was brilliant. I think we should wrap up now. So, can I ask
film challenge of the week?
Well, before we do the film challenge, just to quickly ask you ratings out of 10 for The Mandalorian. I'll start off. Let's ask Tom guest. Out of 10, what would you rate it out of 10?
I think it's a 10.
Yeah. Okay. Martin.
10.
And I say 10 as well. So there we go.
Fantastic.
Yeah. I mean, we do try to rate things, and I don't think we've ever had 10 out of 10 for both of us. So that just shows the power of it. And I'm really glad that both of you like it as much as I have, and so many millions. And I think we've got, this is early days. Let's get COVID out the way, then production can probably get going, and we can then, go on.
Would Tom come back on after the final episode of The Expanse, and we could review it?
Yes.
Tom, you're very welcome to. What I'm going to say to you, Tom, is you've always got an open invitation. Obviously you've got your own commitments, but you whenever you fancy it, well, what I'll do is I'll send you shows about what we're going to talk about. If you're in, that's great. If you're not, then
I'm in.
Brilliant. That's great.
I love being in.
Tom, that is so
I'm
kind.
happy to take part.
Thank you, and I really appreciate it. So, okay, so that's finished off with Star Wars. So, Martin, what's the movie challenge then?
The film challenge is a 1982 flop, and it's called Megaforce, starring Barry Bostwick.
Okay.
And I want to know how you feel about it.
Is it on YouTube?
You've got, well, it might appear on your screen. That magic.
That magical thing. All right. Okay. Okay. Well, that's fine. I'll do that. And so that's the challenge for me to watch that before next week. I'm not sure what we're doing next week, but I'll let you know, Tom. If you want to come in, you're welcome to. As it sounds like you're becoming more of our sort of third member, which is wonderful. So
you almost said third wheel.
Well, something like that.
We're a triumvirate now.
I know.
We're a triumvirate.
No, but it's like I said, it's really kind of you, and we appreciate it. Right, so we're gonna finish. We're going to finish off then with. I found this. I like different forms of music, and I found this guy. He did this sort of metal version of the Mandalorian theme, which should be alright for YouTube to play because it's not the official thing. It's a guy called 331 E-Rock. He did the Mandalorian meets metal. I kind of like this, even though it's a bit loud. So if you like loud music, then you should enjoy this. We will catch you next week on the Solar One Sci-Fi Podcast. Thank you, Martin and Tom.
Live long and prosper.